Hello friends, in this vlog I'm going to take you through the entire process of writing a first draft. I mean, you're going to get to watch me do it. I'm going to write a first draft in this vlog. You're going to get to see the entire process and all of the struggles that come along with it. I bring you along for the entire thing. So, first things first, let's go back in time to when I first started writing this draft. Hello friends, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this, but we'll just see. So, in my last vlog, I started working on a super secret project. By the end of that vlog, I had like 4,000 words or something done, but the super secret project was this sudden explosion of 4 new unrelated novel ideas. I mean, it was wild. I've never had that many novel ideas bloom in my head at once before, and I started writing little bits for all 4 of them. That was those 4,000 words. And I literally still want to write all of those novels. It's wild. Today, I believe, is like April 26th or something. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. And I still want to write all 4 of those novels. But I have one that feels like I want to write it first, and so that's what my super secret project is going to be, that novel. So I took its notes from those 4,000 words, transfer them over to a new document on Monday of this week, and it was about 1,800 words, and now I am at 5,700 words, 5,778 words, because I've worked on it a little bit each week. My cat is playing with my camera lens, so I don't know if you can hear him in the background, but yeah, that's where we are, and I'm feeling great. You know, I haven't been thinking about my magical mystery because that one's just on a break right now, and I'm letting all my creative juices flow in this new super secret project that I'm obsessed with, and I just can't even believe how good I feel about it, and how I still feel good about it, and how I literally got 4 new novel ideas that I want to write. I don't think I will write all 4 novels before I get back to the magical mystery, but my plan is to write this novel until, I don't know, till I don't want to write it anymore, I guess, and then, after all of this creative reinvigoration, go back to my magical mystery. So that's where we stand. You know, maybe I'll never post this, and I'll never talk about my magical mystery again on this channel. Don't know, but yeah, that's where we are right now. 5,778 words into Secret Project, book number 1. Oh dear, my foot is asleep. Okay, today is now Thursday, May 2nd, and book 1 of my super secret project is now 11,455 words long. I'm saying book 1 because that day that I had all those ideas for new books, I got 4 new book ideas. They're not all connected, so it's not like a series, book 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just like 4 books, and this is the first one that I decided to write, you know, so I'm calling it book 1. You know, because that first vlog that I made about these projects, I was just writing thoughts for all 4 books on one document. And then now, in this vlog, I have started a new document for just one book. Book 1 of my super secret project. I don't know how else to phrase that, but that's where we are. Also, shockingly, a few nights ago, I actually had an idea for book number 5. I mean, it's just out of control, these new thoughts that I've been having. I have not had any thoughts now for my magical mystery that I've been working on for all these many, many months. But book number 5, I got the idea. I wrote it down. You know, who knows where these book ideas are coming from? You know, what are they putting in my water? So today is Wednesday, May 8th, and my new book secret project that I'm working on is now 15,403 words long, which is good, you know. I'm feeling like slightly annoyed or something about how long this project is taking me, because I'm just writing like a straight up whole book in between, you know, drafting my other book, editing my other book. Let's just say I have grown concerned about the length of time it is taking me, and I kind of wish, you know, I could be writing this faster, like maybe twice as fast. So I don't know, we'll see if I can step it up in high gear. I have also started growing concerned that perhaps I'm like writing a novella or something. I don't want to be writing a novella, but I'm worried that I don't have enough plot points to carry an entire novel, because I'm currently at 15,000 words, which is fine, you know. Not even a quarter of the way through the book though, which is less fine. But I just wrote a scene that could like be the climax of the novel, or like the midpoint, and yet, We're like literally not even a quarter of the way through the novel. See, that's a problem, you know, that's a substantial problem. You know, this is the problem with shiny idea syndrome. You get a new idea for a project. You think it's going to be the fast and easy, the simplest project you ever wrote because you just feel all revved up about it. And then you start writing and then you realize, you know, you're just writing a book. It's the same as all the other books you've ever written. Hard. Alright, today is now Monday, May 13th. My project is 19,645 words. Also, I don't know if I look like sunburned and sweaty. I just finished, we planted the last of our tomato seedlings, and our sweet potato seedlings, or whatever those are called. I don't think they call them seedlings. Starts that we started inside from a different sweet potato. Yes. We also have blueberries, strawberries, and cabbage, and lima beans this year. Very exciting. Last year we grew cucumber, and we did not end up getting one single cucumber. So no cucumbers this year, which is fine. But, so I just did that. I think I got sunburned, and I'm all hot and sweaty and tired now. But I have realized that I tend to get a little bit less writing done on the weekends. I mean, which is fine. My project is now 19,645 words long, which is fine. You know, that's not a bad length. But there just tends to be like a lot of other things I'm supposed to be doing on the weekends. So like last weekend I visited with my nephew, and this weekend we saw the Northern Lights, which was like incredible. And I had never seen the Northern Lights before, so that was like really exciting. And like, you know, several times throughout my life they have been like, Northern Lights will be visible over Ohio, and they're never visible. But on Friday they were like crazy visible, like vibrant. You could see the different colors and the swooping, and it was crazy and wild, and you know, worth it to take time away to do that. But then on Sunday it was Mother's Day, and I hung out with my siblings and my mom, and we went antique shopping. It was all nice and lovely, but I did not get any writing done. So I have not yet been able to kick my writing into high gear. I'm hoping this week I can do it. We shall see. For you, you'll figure out in the next few minutes whether or not I'm successful. For me, it will be, you know, a long, long time. Also, my goal, my dream, is to be able to have a complete, readable first draft. Connective tissue and everything, a complete whole draft of this book by the end of June. And you might be like, I don't believe you're going to be able to do it, because the last time you set a goal, you were like, by the middle of May, I'm going to finish draft 2 of my magical mystery, and that did not happen. But that was a 15-week goal, and this is only like a 6-week goal, so it's a more manageable amount of time. So I don't know. I need, you know, 50,000 more words, and like enough scenes to fill 50,000 more words, because I'm running out of scenes. The book is having the struggles. It's an interesting struggle that I've never had before. You know, each new book has new struggles. I wish that wasn't the way it was, but that's the way it's been. And this book struggles tends to be, it feels like a novella. And I want to find a way to make it not feel like it wants to be a novella, because I don't really want to write a novella. I don't know. We'll just see. We'll see. I don't know. Alright, today is Friday, May 17th. My project is now 25,002 words long, and it has been a struggle to get there. My concern is that the story has already just, you know, it started, it had a middle, and it had an end, and now it's only 25,000 words long, and I just don't know what to do. And I'm feeling kind of down about it. And I haven't been kicking it into high gear. I've been hoping to write 2,000 words per day, in the hopes that I would have a full complete draft by the end of June. That's still sort of my dream and my goal, but I've only achieved the 2,000 words per day once, like last week, I think. The rest of the days, I'm struggling to get 1,000 words because the story feels like I don't know what else it should be. And I think I'm just feeling kind of disappointed, you know? Like 25,000 words, that's not bad, but like, I feel no a sense of accomplishment or joy or anything because, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just disappointed with the story, like I felt like it should be longer, maybe I'm disappointed with myself because I feel like I should be able to make it longer, Or maybe I'm just, beaten down by 10 years of rejection and I'm incapable of experiencing joy or success feelings about my writing. Which is a possibility because that's how I've been feeling now for a very long time. So we don't know. I don't. That's the update though. 25,000 words and 2. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. I have my window open. There's a ton of construction. I don't know if you can hear me. But I ended up taking about a week off of writing. I took a week off of YouTube. I just took a week off. I was getting overwhelmed. I put too much pressure on myself with the 2,000 words per day goal. And then I just, quickly got overwhelmed and burned out, and I just froze and I stopped writing for a week. Stopped doing everything. So, my project is now 28,540 words. I don't know if you can hear me at all. There's so much noise. So my break was necessary. I'm feeling a little bit better. I don't know if, I haven't thought of any grand ideas for how to stretch this from novella length to full novel length, but I sort of can imagine, a structure that would work, I think, maybe. I don't have, the scene events or anything, the events at all, ideas for that, but I can just kind of, the noise. I can just kind of envision a structure that brings the story from where it is now to a full-length novel. I'm not sure if I can make that happen. I'm not even sure if I did make it happen, if it would feel like a full-length novel, or if it would just feel like a stretched-out novella. But I can imagine the structure. I have no events planned for it, no scene ideas, nothing. I need to land on, this is what I need. I need to think of a plot that I can weave into the story to fit this structure idea, and it would have to be a substantial plot. I don't have that yet. Yeah, no ideas. But I envision the structure, which is a progress. And because I took a break, and because I'm now lowering my daily goal from 2,000 words per day to 1,000 words per day. I don't even know if I said that I had gone up to 2,000 words per day. I had just been I need to double my writing pace, and I had been doing 1,000 words per day, so double it to 2,000 words per day. Anyway, it was too many words. So now, I'm back to 1,000 words per day. I just started writing again last night. I wrote 1,000 words, which was productive. I don't think, obviously, I'm going to be done by the end of June, but I will be making progress if I can keep writing 1,000 words per day. So we're going to be okay. There was no reason for me to put such a quick deadline on this. I just want it to be done fast. I still want to be done fast, but I'm telling myself, obviously 1,000 words per day, 500 words per day is better than 0 words per day. And for a week, I was writing 0 words per day. So we're just going to have to get back to it. This vlog is going to last, however many months it lasts. For some reason, it's taking me forever. I just want to be done. But it's not like I just want to be done because I'm not enjoying the writing. I'm still very much enjoying the story. I wish the story felt like it wanted to be longer. But I had gotten it in my head that this vlog was only going to be one video, which means all of this long time, I'm not posting any writing vlogs because I'm just waiting for this one to be done. So the longer it takes me to write this book, the longer it'll take me to finish this vlog, and then the longer you guys will have to go with no writing vlogs happening. You know, maybe I could just post this vlog now and be like, it's just a regular standard vlog, and be like, I'll come back again, you know, in the future when I'm writing again. You know, and have this story cover multiple vlogs, but for some reason I told myself I didn't want to do that, and I was just gonna have this one book happen in one vlog, you know? I was gonna write a whole book in one vlog. So that's what we're doing. Who knows how long it's gonna take me? Hopefully not too long, but you never know. You never know. So one of the things I did while I was on a break was design this lovely home. It's something my brain does. It's not a productive hobby, but for some reason my whole life, when I'm not focused on something, my brain just likes to start designing homes. So that's what I did. This is what I did over the past week. Why? You know, it's not useful, but it's enjoyable. I do enjoy doing it. When I went to college, I thought, I enjoy designing homes so much, maybe I want to be an architect. But then the college only offered commercial architecture for some reason. Like, they don't even offer home architecture, and I'm only interested in the homes and like very specific, you know, styling, and it takes me forever to do it, and I enjoy it, and it's fun, and you know, it's a hobby, a strange, useless hobby, but that's what I do. I made a whole video about designing a home for one of the books that I wrote many years past. I made a video about it. If you want to watch it, you know, it's a home that got out of control, but it was so fun to make that home. You can watch that video after this video. I don't know how much longer this video is going to be, but yeah. Alright, so today is May 31st. It's Friday. And I just hit 30,000 words. And I'm not feeling great because I need to start coming up with scenes to fill that new structure that I imagined, because I am currently now out of scenes. So I have a novella, and it's not what I want. It is now Thursday, June 6th, and my project is at 33,009 words. So the problem has been many problems. I can still imagine the structure that will be necessary to flesh this from a novella to a novel, but I have not yet thought of what plot scenes I need. So I've just been kind of like dabbling at scenes, but nothing I'm writing feels right. Like when I started writing this project, it was feeling so good and easy because everything felt right. Like the correct scenes, character actions, movement. And I thought, even if the line level is bad, like I wasn't even worried about line level because I was like, I can just come back and fix this later, easy peasy. But my problem is now, nothing feels right. Like the line also feels bad, but the scenes, the character action, it doesn't feel right, and I'm concerned. Something interesting that I've also noticed, usually when I write first drafts, I just write the scenes and I don't write the connective tissue. But because for some reason I wanted to write a whole complete draft in this video, I am writing connective tissue. But what I'm doing is writing the scenes and then going back and writing the connective tissue in like little bits. So like I'll write, you know, 4 or 5 scenes, and then I'll go back and write the connective tissue, you know, a few days later. And then I've just been doing that down the novel, which is interesting. I mean, it seems almost like something I could do in the future with novels, except it also seems like kind of unnecessary because there's no reason for me to be trying to write this first draft in this time frame. And I like, you know, I've always been successful at writing a first draft with no connective tissue and then going back and writing my second draft with connective tissue. But it's just been interesting, just something I thought I would share. But I have very clearly not been writing 1,000 words per day. Stephen King would be so disappointed in me. I had wanted my next update to be able to be 40,000 words and just me breezing through the rest of the story. But clearly that is not going to be the case. So today is Monday, June 10th, And I haven't actually made any progress on my project because I've been working on a Fiverr order. I really love doing Fiverr orders. If you didn't know, I do have a Fiverr and I offer fiction editing anywhere from like under 5,000 words to 100,000 words. There's a category for everyone, and it's so fun, and I just love doing it. So I just finished up that Fiverr order today and submitted it. So now hopefully I will be able to return to my super secret project. I've been away from it for several days now, so I might have a hard time returning, but that's the update. I slept terribly last night, so I'm very tired, folks. So today is Thursday, June 13th, and I haven't made much progress on my project because I haven't really been working on it, and it's a problem. So I think on Tuesday I added about 800 words, which is fine, but I'm still just like picking away at like the scenes I have, because even though I still think the structure that I created could work to turn this novella into a novel, I have not yet landed on like the specific plot points that would need to be in the structure. Like I can imagine the structure, but not the plot of that structure. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, and I know because I'm struggling so much that the only way to fix this is to just sit down and force myself to just write practice scenes, like to just try out some plot points. And that's like been really intimidating me because I don't like the idea of writing words knowing the vast majority of them are not going to be right and are just going to end up being cut. And like maybe I should do it in a new document because like maybe I don't want to be putting all of these gonna be cut words in my document. I don't know, I don't know if I'm having like, it doesn't seem like motivation problems because I want to be doing it, I'm just scared. I'm gonna have to just play with plot point ideas. I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna have to do that because my just sitting around and hoping the idea falls upon me plan is not working. So, the good news is I actually did have a new idea for a fun little world building tip or bit for my magical mystery that I took a break from, which is kind of nice. I didn't get like any like, you know, driving plot momentum ideas for that novel, but a fun little world building bit. Pretty fun. So that's like probably the first new thought I've had for that story since I've taken a break from it, which I'm hoping is a good sign that I will be ready to return to it once I finish this project. I don't know. I do want to return to that, I'm creatively a little bit stuck right now, and I know I just have to burst through that wall, but that's what. Also, fun little bit, I had a 6th idea for a new novel, and I wrote it down, because now this is not book 1 of 5 new novel ideas, it's now book 1 of 6 new novel ideas that I've had. It's unrelated, like I'm not creating a series, it's totally unrelated stories that are just like bam, bam, bam being created in my mind. Interesting, not very useful, but interesting. Today is Wednesday, June 19th. We've been under a heat dome. Interesting weather word. We also had an 8-minute thunderstorm, so we got like 98% humidity, and my hair has been curling and I've been lethargic, but these last few days I have not been working on my project because I've been working on another Fiverr order, and it's so fun. It's like deliciously fun. It's like it's filled with joy type of fun. I love it. I genuinely love it. So I finished that up today and just submitted it. So now perhaps maybe I'm ready to get back to my project. I have had like a little inkling of an idea, a thought, you know, just passing by, about how I might go about experimenting with scenes that could fit into my plot structure idea without having to just guess what happens next, because that trying to just guess what happens next activity is massively overwhelming and it keeps slowing me down. So I think I've actually thought of a way I could like avoid that maybe, and like pick away at the potential structure without having to guess what happens next. It's not making sense right now, but I think it might work. We will see. But also, the best news perhaps is over these last, however many days I have not been working on this project, I have had 3 substantial ideas for my magical mystery. One of them is like a good idea, I think, that will make the story more fun overall. It'll just be something that needs to be implemented throughout, which I really like that idea. The second 2 ideas, though, are like concrete, actionable ideas that I think I actually want to work on now, which means I might actually be tandem writing. Because I think I might, film a little segment of a vlog of me working on my magical mystery and then post it and then return to this vlog. So if you want to see me working on the magical mystery, you'll have to watch this vlog. I'll link it because it will be up long before this video goes up, and then I will come back to working on my secret project. Because I'm feeling good, Dare I say things are going well? Okay, so it has been a while since I spoke to you. Today is July 17th, but I'm actually feeling a little bit refreshed, perhaps. So, I don't know if I said this in the last clip, but I had determined that there were 4 scenes left in this story in order to make it be a complete story. It was gonna be a novella because the 4 scenes, so right now the story sits at 36,169 words. And I have been like picking away at those 4 scenes to determine if those really are the only 4 scenes left in the story. And they definitely are. None of those scenes are complete. They've all been just kind of picked away at. But even if I finish all 4 of those scenes, the story is still only going to be about 40,000 words, which is a novella. And I don't want to write a novella. I'm not sure what I have against writing a novella. I like novellas. Like, I've read several novellas. Some of them I thoroughly enjoyed. I think perhaps my hesitancy, my desire to not write a novella for this, is I kind of want to self-publish this story, and I don't want the first book that I self-publish to be a novella. So that's where we are. I was talking to some people and they were like, maybe the story just wants to be a novella. Maybe you're trying to force it to be something it doesn't want to be. But we're going to continue with the force because I want it to be a novel and not a novella. I'm in charge here. So, the reason I had been picking away at the 4 scenes rather than trying to implement that structure that I've been talking about all these long months is because I think some part of my distant brain has been like, that structure might not work. And I'm not 100% sure that the structure is not right for the story, but a part of my brain thinks it isn't right, and I haven't been feeling like I want to experiment with it. So I was just picking away at the 4 scenes, and then I started thinking, in the back of my head, there's also been this other idea for how to lengthen this novella into a novel, and that is to add a second point of view. And I've had that thought now for a long time, possibly even before I came up with the other structure. But I got this little buddy. Look at my buddy. buddy. He loves me, but he does not like to be held. My other structure idea for lengthening is to add a second point of view. And the reason I had never really considered that as a possibility, like even when I thought of it, I was like, that's not a possibility, and I'm just going to go with this other structure that I had come up with that feels perhaps not right, is a couple of reasons. One, I've never written a multi-point of view story or a dual point of view story because I tend not to enjoy reading them. Like usually when I read a dual POV or a multi-POV, there's always one POV that I just don't like. And every time I come to it, it feels like homework to read. And I'm like, oh, I have to read this person again. And I don't want to have to write that, and I don't want to give that to the readers, you know? So I've been hesitating. Plus, another reason why I've been hesitating adding a second POV, even though I feel like this story could really support two POVs. Like, the story seems like that could work, actually. But I've never written one. I don't tend to enjoy them. And the voice for the current POV that I've written, these, 36,000 words, came so easily to me, and it feels so like full and complex and authentic as a person character voice. And the second point of view character, I've not yet at all dabbled in trying to create chapters for them, like trying to tap into their voice. That's what I'm going to do now and like see, and obviously I will keep you updated. But I am concerned that I won't be able to tap into their voice at all, or to the point where it feels like an authentic, complex character voice, So I'm concerned. But I'm also feeling strangely optimistic. I think I'm feeling like a little bit refreshed, perhaps, because I've taken so much time away from this. And I'm feeling kind of like willing to play. That willing to play feeling is always, that's a good feeling to have when it comes to writing. So I'm just going to dabble with trying to tap into this character's voice. I don't have like any grand ideas at the moment for like what direction this voice should take, which is concerning, but I'm still feeling strangely, open to the idea of playing with this character voice, trying to tap into it. If I can tap into it, I'm also feeling good that I could easily, add a few tens of thousands more words to this story pretty quick if I can tap into their voice and get that flowing. Because, that's what made this story flow in the first place, because I tapped into that first character's voice, and it all just came flowing. And I can see that happening for this story. Like, the story itself looks like it could really support the second POV if I can tap into that voice. If I can't, we will be in a world of hurt. But we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Probably when we come to it, but hopefully if we come to it. Also, I have had another idea for a story. I think, is this like idea number 7? I'm not sure. It could be idea number 8. I don't know. I wrote it down. But I can tell, this is how I can tell that I've been feeling creatively refreshed. And that is, I keep getting new story ideas. They just keep flowing in my brain, which feels excellent. Because you go for long periods of drought where you're like, I'm never going to create a new story again in my life. I'm not really a writer at all. And then you can tell when you're starting to feel creatively refreshed because the ideas just start coming. So during the length of time that I've been working on this story, I believe I've had 7 story ideas, which is wonderful, and I've written them all down, and I'm still feeling good about all of them. So that was a plus. But then also I can tell I'm being creatively refreshed because of my desire to play. Like, my willingness to play with the story, rather than feeling like so concerned every time I sit down to write. I'm like feeling, kind of looking forward to just playing around and seeing what happens. I felt that way about my magical mystery, and now I'm feeling that way about this story, and that is my good cue to knowing that I'm feeling creatively refreshed. I hope it lasts. I do hope it lasts. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I have been procrastinating. So I uploaded and scheduled a video to go up on YouTube on Monday, which is good because I had sort of fallen off the YouTube wagon for a while because I've been working on this project and not been making videos, but we're trying to get better about it. And then I was editing this vlog, and then the big kahuna. I went into my phone. I'm starting to feel like my phone might be on its last legs, so I'm like trying to save stuff from it. And so I went into my notes section, and if you know me, you know I take the chaotic notes. So dozens upon dozens of notes. I couldn't even keep track of how many notes there were. I went in and I copy and pasted into an email to myself every single note I had ever taken about any of the novels I've been working on, including the 2 novels I'm currently working on, my magical mystery and my secret project. I have had this phone for my last 5 novels. So I had notes on there for my previous 3 completed novels, my magical mystery, and my secret project. 5 novels worth of notes that I copy and pasted, as well as notes that I've just randomly spouted out in my head about, like, potential novel ideas or lines or like description or characters or anything, just anything novel related, up to and including all of the notes for my past 5 novels, everything I've ever used on this phone. Transferred it to an email, sent it to myself, copied it into a document so that I could save it on my computer, so in case my phone dies, I won't lose all of those notes. The document is 12,394 words long. It is 37 pages on Microsoft Word. Who knows how many notes that was on my phone? A million. I mean, like, it took me, 3 hours or something to transfer all of those notes from my phone to my computer. And I'm still gonna have to organize them because I take notes in the most wildly unorganized way possible. Like, I purposefully do it unorganized. I was actually thinking about this, because, like, I could create a note on my phone or something that was like, notes for this book, notes for my previous book. But then, when I have a good idea, I don't want to waste any brain power in trying to get to the proper note, so I just write it wherever I can. I'd write it on the back of my hand if that's what I had access to. So, my notes are crazy. There was hundreds, who knows how many notes there were that I was going into to fish out all of these ideas to save to my computer. But, so, now I have a document that is wildly unorganized, possibly even more unorganized than the notes were on my phone, and it includes notes for future novel ideas, my current secret project, my current magical mystery, and my past 3 novels. It's 37 pages long and over 12,000 words. Have I been working on my secret project that I've been supposed to be? No, haven't done that yet. I need to. I'm running out of things to procrastinate with. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, it is now 2 days later, July 19th, and I have not even opened my document. I'm scared is the problem. I've put so much pressure on this being the solution, my last chance to turn this novella into a novel, that I've gotten myself so scared I cannot even begin. It's a problem, folks. I'm struggling. I don't even know what to do. Like, I just have to try and see if it's gonna work. And then I can worry about whether or not it works after I try. I literally can't even get myself to open the document. So, we are struggling and we're scared. Alright, so I have now officially written 40 words in my new experimental POV. And I didn't hate them, but then I got scared. I wrote a sentence after the 40 words that I didn't like, and I erased it, and then I got scared, so I stopped writing. And it's been a little while, but I think, like, I'm scared because I feel like I have these, like, still optimistic feelings about this new POV. And I don't want to lose that by proving myself wrong, by trying to write the POV and having it not work. And I've been procrastinating massively, so you might be like, I don't believe that you have these positive feelings about this POV, but I still do, and I'm afraid to lose them, and that's why I keep getting so scared. But I have 40 words, so that's better than 0 words. 40 words a day. At this rate, I'm trying to get like 35,000 words. That'll take me like, what? I don't know, a little less than 3 years. Which is a depressing thought. So, hopefully I can write some more. But I'm so scared. Alright, so my story is currently 37,545 words long. Today is July 23rd, which averages out to, I believe, like 400 words per day I've been writing since the last time I talked to you, which isn't terrible. It's not great, but all those words are in my new point of view. So I would say it's going better than I expected, but not as good as I had hoped, if that makes sense. So I'm feeling a little bit better today, so hopefully, I'll be able to kick it in high gear. But recently I have been dealing with just the absolute most extreme lethargy of my life. I don't know, it feels like, oh, that little buddy just ran out from underneath my bed. It feels like it's like mid-winter, sunsets at 4 p.m. type of lethargy. I don't know what the problem is. I'm so tired all the time, like all day long. And it's very hard to get things done, especially creative things. So, we've been really struggling with that recently. I'm feeling slightly better today. I started taking my vitamin D supplement again, and I don't know, usually that helps with my energy, so I don't know. But I'm hoping I can get back to 1,000 words per day. That is my goal. Right now I'm doing about 400 words per day. They're cutting down a tree outside. It's very loud. So I'll talk to you later. Alright, today is Monday, July 29th, and I have finally reached 40,000 words. It's fine. So with my new POV, I'm not feeling like terrible, but I'm also not feeling great. There are some moments when I'm writing this character where I'm like feeling like it could actually work and I'm on the right track, but I can also tell that I'm writing them very inconsistently between scenes. And I know I don't need to be worrying about consistency now, and I can, worry about that in future drafts, but I think I'm just feeling disappointed because my first POV character, the original POV that I was writing in, just felt so full and real and complete, as an authentic voice. And I haven't really been able to tap into that feeling for this new POV. Not to the point where I feel like I need to give up on that POV, but just to like a frustrating point where I feel like it could work, but I just can't reach it. So, I think it's also been like maybe 2 months since I reached 30,000 words, which is not a great pace if I'm hoping to reach 70,000 words. That means it would take me approximately 6 more months to finish the draft of this novel. There's not even 6 months left in the year. Honestly, I don't want to spend like more than 6 weeks on the rest of this novel, and actually I had hoped to be finished with the draft of this novel a month ago. So we're struggling and we're a little bit frustrated because it's taking so long and it's not going great. Very well, then, that's where we are. Hi, so it has been about 6 weeks since I've talked to you. So, today is September 10th. It's been 6 weeks and 1 day. Okay, so I'm gonna get you all caught up. So what happened was, oh dear, oh my, this is gonna be a long story. So after the last clip, on July 29th when I last talked to you, I was struggling to write more than 300 to 400 words per day. I was just really struggling. And so I thought, well, what I need to do is get some motivation. And so I wanted to do a vlog for trying to develop a daily routine that would allow me to write more than 300 to 400 words per day. So I did do that. I was working on this story in that vlog. I posted it, but you didn't miss anything specific about this story. I could have been writing anything. That was just a routine-specific vlog, you know, not having anything to do with what story I was working on. I didn't want to share any details about the story because I wanted to save that all for this vlog, so don't feel like you missed out if you did watch that vlog. But I did do that, and I didn't achieve anything. I was still struggling, you know, mostly writing just 300 to 400 words per day. And then, at the very beginning of August, my brother was in a very bad accident. He spent about 2 weeks in the hospital. Everything was chaos. It was actually, like, really, really quite scary for quite some time. So I didn't write at all for, like, 2 weeks. And then my sister went into labor, like 2.5 weeks early. Right all at the same time. You know, everything was chaos and terrible. But things are better now. Everybody's home from the hospital. My brother, obviously, he's gonna have like a really, really long road to recovery, but he's alive, and that is what matters. I mean, seriously, it was rough there for a while in August. So for 2 weeks, I didn't write at all. And then I posted another vlog working on this story. Again, not doing specifics for the story. I didn't want to share any specifics. There were no major updates. I was just trying to motivate myself to write and develop a writing routine because I had not yet done that. I could not develop any kind of routine where I could like consistently write 1,000 words per day. And I was thinking it's okay that I'm posting these vlogs because even though I want this book to be written all in this one vlog, which it is being done, but I wasn't sharing specifics about the story in those vlogs. They were just about my routine, trying to establish a routine. And this vlog is already getting, you know, heckin' long, and I've only ever posted one video before that was over an hour long, and I had such a hard time posting that video. I failed to upload twice, and then when it finally did upload, I couldn't get it to HD, so I had to post it in SD. What is that, like single D? I don't know what the words stand for, but yeah. So if this vlog happens to go over an hour, you know, we're all just gonna have to be watching it like it's 1999. Because I don't know how to get hour-long videos to be in HD. It just won't work. My computer won't do it. I don't know. I'm so sorry, but yeah. So I was thinking if I did those vlogs and posted them separately, not having specifics about my story, then, you know, hopefully I could keep this vlog under an hour. Seems unlikely because, you know, this vlog's still going strong, and, yeah, we're getting close to an hour. So, you know, I'm doing my best. If this vlog looks like it was filmed in the 90s, I don't know how to fix it, you know, for some reason. As soon as the video hits an hour, my computer just decides it won't do HD anymore. I don't know. I don't know if that's a regular problem, but yeah, that's a problem I have. So I'm pretty sure. So in total in August, I posted 3 vlogs of me working on this story. I was trying very hard to make them all just writing routine specific and not having anything to do with the story I was writing. The only thing you missed was I did talk a little bit about how I was struggling to include a subplot, because I do struggle with writing subplots for the same reasons I struggle with writing multi-POVs, which is usually when I'm bored in a story, it's because I'm stuck in a subplot, and the subplot's just not doing it for me, so I try to avoid, you know, writing the boring parts that people skip, and, you know, recently my books have been, like, extremely focused, like, too focused, you know, not enough subplots, so, you know, working on including subplots is something I need to do. But I had gotten this idea for this second POV that I've been working on, where if I included a subplot, I could deepen that POV and hopefully gain access to their voice, because all the videos I've been posting, everything up until now, I was struggling massively to get into that character's voice. And that was like the major reason why I was only writing 300 or 400 words per day, because it was just a massive struggle to like eke out all of these words. So I started developing that subplot, started implementing the subplot, and I actually was really able to tap into that character's voice for the subplot scenes, and it was going great. And I hit 50,000 words in this story on September 1st. So today's the 10th. So 10 days ago, I hit 50,000 words. And it felt good to be finally being able to write, you know, somewhat consistently. And like I had really tapped into that character's voice for their POV chapters during that subplot. And I haven't posted any vlogs since then, so my hitting 50,000 words was a vlog. Again, trying so hard not to be story specific, but just like routine specific, trying to figure out, you know, what works for me to be able to consistently hit 1,000 words per day. Ideally, someday I'd like to write more than 1,000 words per day, but I was struggling. So, I hit 50,000 words on September 1st, which was about a month, a little over a month, since I had hit 40,000 words, which is a slower pace than I'd like to be writing, but it's shorter than the 2 months it had taken me to write the previous 10,000 words. So from 30 to 40,000 words took me 2 months, and then from 40 to 50,000 it took me 1 month. And so today is the 10th, and the story currently sits at 57,000 words. So in the last 10 days, I have written 7,000 words. Because I had tapped into that voice, I was in subplot, things were a-grooving. But, so okay, there's like several things. So, the subplot has been working, and there's like really only like one scene left in the subplot that I haven't written yet, and it's like the conclusion scene of that subplot. And the reason I haven't written it yet is because even though I know like what the conclusion needs to be, I don't know how it needs to come about. So that scene, I'm not sure what it needs to be. Previously, before I had started implementing this second POV, there had been 4 scenes left in the story that I was just picking through. Those scenes are left in the story, and then this final scene for the subplot, which is a new scene obviously since I started writing this new POV, that's left in the story. They all kind of exist, but real piecemeal here at the end. The end of this story has gotten really messy, because usually when I write a first draft, I write only the scenes, and I don't worry about connective tissue until the second draft. So in this story, I have been doing some second draft behavior, and I've been writing connective tissue, because I want to write a full, complete, readable story for the first draft for this story. For some reason, I don't know, I don't normally do that. I thought, you know, how fun would it be to write one whole story in one vlog? So that's what we've been doing, and it's been going okay, except there's like several reasons why I'm not feeling like thrilled about even hitting 50,000 words or being at 57,000 words, and part of that has to do with 57,000 words is now technically a novel, but since this is an adult novel, it kind of needs to be longer, and I'm not sure how many words are left, because really all that's left is the final like 5 or 6 scenes don't have connective tissue yet. I just have been combing through them, like trying to add little tiny bits of connective tissue every time I comb, and it's been going okay. And so I finished the subplot, and then I started combing. Yesterday was the first night of like full combing, no subplot scenes, and I wrote 1,000 words yesterday. I hit 57,000 words, but I feel like, you know, there's no way I'm going to write 13,000 more words in the story in order to get to 70,000. So that's kind of sad, and I'm still feeling kind of sad about this story being so short. And like usually in my second drafts or like in my revisions, my stories get longer. Like usually my first draft is my shortest draft, because then in the future I start adding like, I start focusing on description and like sensory details and things like that. More like internal narration. I add those details usually more in future drafts, but in this, plus connective tissue obviously, but in this story I've been adding the connective tissue, and because I've been so worried about my low word count, I've been focusing on adding the sensory details. So like all of those things that usually contribute to my increase of word count in future drafts, I've already been adding them, and my story is still only at 57,000 words. So it's like not a novella anymore, but it's also like not really a novel, and I'm just kind of sad about it. So, my goals for the rest of this novel and vlog are to get as close to 70,000 words as I possibly can. You know, somebody is mowing or something, I don't know if you can hear, but the mowing made me lose my entire train of thought, and my brain is empty. Okay, truly, I'm not sure where I was going because I can't remember where I was. But my goals are to get as close to 70,000 words as possible. 13,000 words away. Can I comb 13,000 more words out of the final, like, 5 or 6 scenes? Probably not, but I'm gonna try, you know? Oh, I think maybe I was talking about bloated. At the moment, I feel like I don't feel at all like I've been bloating these scenes trying to reach word count. which feels really good. If I start feeling like that, I'm going to stop because I don't want to do that, you know, even just trying to get to my word count goal. So that's my first goal for the rest of the story. Get as close to 70,000 words as possible. I still have to add the connective tissue and finish fleshing out the final scenes because the other problem that I have is there are 2 scenes that come before the end, like come before these final scenes, that are not right at all. And I wrote them, you know, like initially, you know, in the story. So like long before I started adding this second POV, I had written these 2 scenes that came like kind of towards the end. There's the scene of like a big confrontation, and then there's a scene of like the characters reacting to the big confrontation, but it's all wrong. And I feel like, oh, so before I finish this draft, those 2 scenes need to be fixed. Even though, you know, you might be thinking fixing scenes is for a future revision and not for draft 1. But I can't leave those 2 scenes in draft 1 because they're literally like 2 of the worst scenes I've ever written in my life. They're terrible. They can't stand. So I'm going to need to find a way, because right now the confrontation scene is really pathetic and bad and just not right. And so I'm going to need to find a way to fix the details of that scene to make it, you know, logical and not melodramatic and like out of nowhere. And then also the scene following that is currently, the characters are just sitting around being like, so that happened, you know, you want to talk about it? Are you feeling anything? And nobody's feeling anything, and then they're totally unaffected for the rest of the novel, which is not good because that was supposed to be like a major confrontation. So what needs to change is the confrontation scene, the scene that comes after. I have to figure out specifically how each character is affected, because then that will affect them for the rest of the scenes. And I think part of the reason why I've just been combing these final scenes and not like actually finishing them is because I'm not sure emotionally where all of the characters are supposed to be. Because right now they're all kind of flat, even though they shouldn't be flat because of that big confrontation. So there's going to be a lot of fixing, and I know that sounds like, you know, future draft situation, but I want this first draft to be a readable story. You know, obviously it's still going to be first draft and there's going to be lots of revision necessary, especially because I didn't tap into this second character's POV literally until I was at like, you know, 45,000 words. So everything before that, the voice is going to have to be completely reworked to include, you know, the voice that I actually developed for them. Because everything before that, all of their scenes are just like real generic voicey, which I'm fine with. They're going to stay that way for the first draft because I'll fix them in revision. But I can't leave the end as messy as it is, because it's just, I mean, it all just fizzles out. It's like not even a story anymore. So before I finish this draft, I'm going to try to get it close to 70,000 words as I can, fix that confrontation scene. You know, does there need to be a scene after of reaction, or is that reaction just going to be worked into the final scenes? Fix all of it, you know, figure out emotionally where all of the characters are, and then try to at least implement some of that emotion in all of the final scenes before I call this story done. I mean, this draft of the story done. The problem also is I've been kind of concerned about working on those 2 scenes because A, I don't yet have an idea for how to fix them, and I don't know what the characters' reactions each need to be emotionally. You know, big substantial problems, but also the scenes as they currently stand are the only bloated scenes in the story, so they're probably, I mean, together 3,000 or 4,000 words. So if I delete them, I'm deleting a large chunk of the story, which is unfortunate because the story is so short. So I've been not wanting to do that, and I keep putting off working on them, but I know that once I develop a concrete idea of how each character reacts to the confrontation, it will make writing the rest of the scenes much, much easier, because right now the rest of the scenes are like kind of there, real piecemeal, no connective tissue, and all of the characters are super, super flat. They just don't care about anything because I don't know how they're supposed to be feeling. So it's a problem. But yeah, that's where we are, and I wish, you know, I wish I was feeling better about my writing as a whole. The story, I like the story, but I think part of the reason why I haven't been able to feel like celebratory feelings about, you know, being at 57,000 words or like writing almost 1,000 words, you know, every day for like the last week, or even like when I hit 50,000 words, is because part of it has to do with the constant rejection I encountered, you know, over the last 10 years for the first 5 novels that I queried. But I think a part of it also has to do with, so the first 4 novels that I queried, they were constantly rejected, and I just kept thinking all I have to do is just write another book, just make the next book better, and eventually I'll write a book that people want. And that kept me going for the first 4 novels. But then, the 5th novel that I queried had so much interest. It got full manuscript requests from I think 27 agents, which was far and away the most requests I'd ever gotten. Before that, I'm pretty sure the most requests I'd ever gotten was 3. So my 5th novel got 27, and then they would all send back their responses, and almost all of them were not things I could fix. They would just be like, this is wonderful and lovely, and we love the characters, but it's just not right for me, or, something to that effect. Nothing that I could fix, and it just kind of drilled into my brain, you're just not good enough. Your writing is just not good enough to be published. And that has been weighing on me like a dark, dark cloud over my head ever since then. So for the last 2 years, it's been 2 years or so since I last queried that novel. And then I started working on my magical mystery. And then I took a break from magical mystery and started working on this. But for those last 2 years, I have had massive trouble writing. Just at all. I mean, my magical mystery, I was writing it so slow. And I realized it's because the doubt and the feeling of just you're just not good enough. There's no concrete advice we can give you to fix it. You're just not good enough. And that has been so heavy and really weighing me down. And I had been hoping that by writing this story with the intention of self-publishing it, I could give myself some happy publishing feelings again, and get some endorphins about my writing again, and make me feel a little bit more in control, I guess, of my writing, so that I could go back to working on my magical mystery feeling, not so much self-doubt, because it's really been making my writing so slow. And it's just also sad, because I no longer feel, that vitality that I used to feel when I was writing. I just feel like my dream is dead, why try? It's just not good enough. Nothing concretely is wrong with it. There's actually parts of it they kind of like, but it doesn't matter because it's just not good enough. And that's sad. That's been really hard for me to work around. So I know that has been slowing me down massively. And it's also been keeping me from feeling celebratory at all about this story that I'm writing. Which is unfortunate because I've been working on this story now for almost 5 months, I suppose. I started it on April 21st, I'm pretty sure. Which is a long time, obviously much longer than I was hoping to work on it. But I've still been writing, a whole novel. And I just feel like I should be feeling better, but I feel literally nothing. I feel just like my characters, just flat. I feel nothing. Because I just know, in the back of my head, why even try? It's never going to be good enough. And that's, it's sad. It's just sad. But that's where we are, and I've been thinking maybe I'll self-publish it under a pen name, and nobody will even know that it's me, and I can just get some feelings out there, for myself. I haven't decided yet. I don't know. I just need to do something to get my good feelings back about my writing, because when I was working on my magical mystery, I would doubt so hardcore every single word that I would write. Every single word carried this feeling of, it's just not good enough. You're never going to be good enough. And that was making me write the slowest I'd ever written in my life. I worked on the second draft of the magical mystery for literally 1 year on this YouTube channel, and I only got halfway through. So that was the slowest I've ever been writing, and I know it's because I sit down to write and I just hate everything, and then I end up hating myself, and I'm like, why even try? Why are you even alive? Just give up. Your dream is dead. Find a new dream. And it's heavy. It's not great. So that's what I've been dealing with, but I have made progress. I'm at 57,000 words. You didn't miss anything. I feel like you're going to be sitting there thinking I cheaped you out by posting those 3 writing vlogs, but they really weren't story specific at all. All I talked about, the first 2 were just fully trying to find my writing routine. I could have been writing anything. You never would have known I didn't talk about it. The third one, I did talk about my subplot struggles because I was having the subplot struggles, I wasn't trying to go into detail about them, but I did say that subplots is something I struggle to write because I'm always worried it's going to be boring to the reader, because I often find them boring in books. Not all the time, obviously. A lot of times books weave in their subplots very effectively, and you don't even notice that they're subplots. But then a lot of times when you're reading a book and you get really bored, you realize it's because you're in a subplot. You want to go back to the main plot. So I did talk about that, and I'm sorry. But the rest of this novel is all entirely going to be in this vlog, and I'm not going to post any more vlogs until I finish this draft because I want the rest of it to be in this vlog. So that's where we are, 57,000 words. The last 7,000 words, so I hit 50,000 when I was working. I developed the idea for this subplot to deepen that character's voice and hopefully tap into that character's voice. Both were successful. I liked the subplot, I found the voice, things were going good from like 45,000 words really to like 56,000 words. And then yesterday was the first day when all that's left of that subplot now is the final scene, and I don't know what that final scene should look like, so it's just kind of sitting there bare bones right now with a bunch of flat characters. And yesterday I was just kind of combing through the final scenes, adding like small lines of detail or, you know, bits of connective tissue, and then I just realized that I can't add anything else until I figure out what everybody is feeling, because the result of that confrontation is non-existent at the moment. There's literally no result. So the confrontation happened and then nobody was affected. So it's affecting the rest of the story, and I need to fix that, and I just haven't been wanting to, because trying to like sit through and think about how to fix a scene, I feel like it's going to make me end up not adding 1,000 words that day, obviously, because I'm going to be trying to like think of content and not just focused on creating words. So it's going to slow me down again, and I just haven't been wanting to because I've been having a good face. I don't know. I'm just complaining now, but yeah. That's where we are. Oh dear. Writing a book is hard, and I wish it wasn't so hard, you know? When I finish this draft, this will be the 7th novel that I've written. Obviously, the magical mystery, I stopped halfway in draft 2, but I had written a complete first draft, and then I wrote half of draft 2 before taking a break, but this will be my 7th novel. 7th failed novel. Alright, it's the next day. It's nighttime. Yesterday I added 530 words. 536 to be exact. I was just doing my combing of the final scenes, so like I was definitely not knowing what substantial words to be adding, but I got 536 and that's fine. One of the other things I was doing last night though was reordering my cat. He's ready. Oh, we love him. I was reordering those final 5 or 6 scenes because not only is the emotional resonance wrong, as in there is none because of the confrontation that had no effect on the plot, I have not found a solution for that, and it's kind of overwhelming, but I also felt like those final scenes have been in the wrong order. So yesterday I was reordering them to try to make them feel less like just one thing after another, you know? They don't have... I think part of the reason why I'm struggling to give them connective tissue is not just the lack of reaction from the big confrontation, but also because there's really no, like, causation between those scenes, you know? It's literally just, like, events happening one after the other, and that felt wrong, obviously. So yesterday I spent some time reordering them, and I actually think I can maybe fix that problem with the order that I settled on yesterday, which is good. I'm not sure if it's right, you know? I won't know that until later probably when I actually try, you know, completing the story. But yesterday during my reordering and by adding the 536 words, I did start feeling like the order I landed on is going to have a much more like cohesive feel, you know, and a lot less like just random things happening just because, you know, now they kind of have like a causal chain type of thing going on, or at least maybe they could, or it was only happening inside my head. I don't know, but that was the hope and the goal. So that's what I did yesterday. I haven't written yet today. I've been feeling... My cat, who knows what he's doing over there, making noise. But I have been feeling so intimidated by trying to sit down and address that confrontation scene. Partly because I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what it needs. Partly because I don't know how everybody is affected. I don't know how they're supposed to be affected. And I know it's going to affect the rest of the story, so I feel like I need to get it right, you know, whenever I go in to fix it. Which is overwhelming, and I've just been getting scared, and I'm concerned that my fear is going to turn into one of those things where I get blocked for weeks on end and I don't write because I'm scared to open my document. So I know I need to just try, and like, I keep telling myself, like, maybe I'll just just brainstorm. You know, because last night when I was working on reordering the scenes, I was brainstorming first. So like I wrote out a list of what the scene order currently was, and then I was just kind of playing around, like reordering that list. How can I make this be more like causal between scenes and less just like bam, 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 random scenes? And that was very helpful, and I did land on a order of events that felt causal, and then when I was able to put them in that order, I added the 530 words, and it was feeling good and like the right thing to be doing. And I feel like I need that in order to happen for me to work on the confrontation scene. I've just been so scared to do it, and I'm concerned, and I'm procrastinating, and I'm talking to you instead of trying because I don't know what to do. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how to fix it, and I'm worried, like, what if I can't fix it, you know, and then the entire last third of this book is wrong and will need to be rewritten and rethought out. That seems like a far, far stretch and probably isn't likely, but, you know, we're on a doom spiral, and, we are concerned about what will happen when we sit down and try to work on that confrontation scene, and I have not been able to make myself do it. Can't even open my document. I'm back in that place again. You know, same place, new problem. It's a problem, and I don't know what to do. I like wish you could like actually talk to me right now because I straight up just don't know what to do. You know, I don't know how to fix the scene. I don't know how to make it better. There needs to be a confrontation, and I like even know what the confrontation is about, but I still can't make it feel like it's happening. Like even in my head, I obviously haven't tried playing with the scene. The scene right now is terrible, but in my head, I can't even see like how it comes about naturally to even be a confrontation. Like even with all these like things building up together and like it makes sense that there's a confrontation, I can't see the start of the confrontation, you know, because my characters aren't like real confrontational or like dramatic or something. I don't know. It's all just a big problem and I'm concerned. But that's pretty much it. I'm concerned. It's nighttime. I don't want to work on it and I'm procrastinating by talking to you. Alright, it is now the next day, September 12th. So last night was the first night, I think, like this month. So far in September that I didn't really write any words. I was having a hard time. So what I did do, it wasn't a total waste, because what I did do was, I went back and I read like the first several chapters of the story as it stands now, and I like actually really enjoyed them. Like I was thoroughly enjoying myself when I was reading them, which is a very good sign, because, you know, sometimes when you get really in the weeds with the story, you can start just hating, you know, every bit of it. But I actually was like, you know, like, it's not that bad. So that was good. And then in the margins, I also marked a couple of areas where I felt like it was moving too fast, like the pacing was too fast, and the story needed to like linger a little while longer on certain moments for like, you know, pacing and like emotional resonance, I don't know. But that was also a good thing. I marked those spots in the margins. I didn't try to fix them. But hopefully that means in revision, there might be some places where I can add words, you know? Especially if there's like several more of those throughout the story, because I only read the first, I don't know, 3 chapters or something, and I found 2. So that was good news. 2 spots where I felt like the story needed to slow down a little and linger a little longer. So that was really good. And then I was feeling, you know, kind of good. So then I went and I reread, or read initially, the scene that leads up to the confrontation. And like that scene and possibly the scene before it are not great, not near as good as the first couple of scenes that I was reading. But so I was reading those, and then I started right in reading with the confrontation scene, and like literally right off the bat, that confrontation scene is terrible. I mean, it's just bad. So it doesn't really have any redeeming qualities, but by doing that reading and like leading up to it, I kind of got an idea, at least a small idea perhaps, that I can play with for starting the confrontation so that it doesn't just feel so out of left field. Like maybe, I don't know, and I was scared to play, and I think what I'm gonna do is create a new document, like, you know, like copy and paste into a new document, so that I don't feel like if I'm deleting everything, I'm making it worse and I can never get back to where it is now, even though where it is now is literally terrible. But, you know, usually with every consecutive draft, I create a new document so that I'm never losing, you know, my old drafts, even though I like never go back to my old drafts. I just like the comfort of knowing they're there. And so obviously I'm still smack dab in the middle of draft 1, but I'm still going to create a new document just because I'm so afraid to play with these scenes and make them even worse than they already are, which is like the bottom of the barrel type of bad. So to try to alleviate that, I'm going to create a new document and then try maybe playing with this idea that I had last night about how to perhaps organically begin the confrontation. No great revelation, but you know, it was something, and I was pleased that I was enjoying reading the first couple of chapters. And I was pleased that I found a couple of spots where the story needed to slow down and linger longer, because that could equal, you know, some more words at some future distant time. So it's not a very productive update that I'm giving you, but that's where we are. And I know I just need to start, you know, just create the new document and just start playing. Once I create a new document, there's literally nothing I can lose. I can't lose. I could delete everything and I still wouldn't be able to lose. So that should alleviate my fear. But of course, it's not. You know, right now I'm thinking I want to do the laundry, wash the dishes, water the garden, take the trash out, you know, anything I can possibly do to not work on this. So I actually do think I'm going to do like every possible chore I can think of. And then we'll see. I don't know. I'm just so scared. Today is September 29th, and yesterday on the 28th, I reached 60,000 words. So it took me exactly 4 weeks from the 1st to the 28th to write those 10,000 words, which is slightly better than the just over 1 month it took me to write the previous 10,000 words. But I was just combing through the final 5 or 6 scenes in order to reach this 60,000 words. I haven't even gone back to look at that confrontation scene or the scene that comes after it. Because I think I'm gonna have to end up like just cutting the vast majority of that, which means, you know, 4,000 words or something. So, you know, have I really reached 60,000 words? No, you know, probably not. And the next time I come back for an update, I'm probably gonna be in the 50s again, and we're gonna be sad about it. Okay, today is October 2nd, and I have now completed, at least for this first draft, the confrontation scene. And I'm about to start working on the reaction scene that comes next, which then will propel the rest of the story. The confrontation scene, I have at least adjusted it so that tonally it matches what it needs to be. It sets up where the characters are going to be for the rest of the story, and it also sets up the propelling action for the rest of the story. The scene is still not good by any measure of the word, but for draft 1, it's now doing what it needs to do. I'm going to work now on the reaction scene and make that scene do what it needs to do. And then hopefully my goal is to then take the rest of the scenes of the story that I've just been combing all of this long time and actually finish this draft. Connect them, you know, fix up the messy bits, you know, shift everything so that the scenes, you know, emotionally align and are propelling one another, you know, the way they need to be doing in a story. So we're making progress. You know, the writing isn't good in that confrontation scene, and at first I was feeling kind of bad about it, and I'm still kind of feeling a little bit bad about it, but it doesn't need to be good right now. I've changed the confrontation scene from, you know, horrible terribleness to at least doing what it needs to do. It's not good right now, but I can fix it later. Also, once I established what the confrontation scene needs to be, and like once I wrote it and got it all shifted right into place and I figured out what the characters were doing, I also got a better idea of what the rest of the scenes of the story needs to be, so I did end up rearranging all of those scenes again. I'd done that before, you know, a few days ago, a few clips ago. I wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly. Still not sure if I'm doing it correctly, but it feels more right now because I have a basis, you know, the correct basis of that confrontation scene in order to know, you know, the propelling action for the rest of the story. So I was able to put the scenes in the order that feels more right. At least for now. I think it might work. So that's what I've done. Finished the confrontation scene, about to start the reaction scene. I will update you after I do. And then I also reordered all of the remaining scenes in the story. So are we making progress? Yes. I'm like not really daring to hope, but we are making progress. I'm not feeling, you know, it's not like I was writing and I was like, oh wow, this is going great.
You know, the writing is still not good, but it's at least accomplishing what it needs to accomplish for a first draft. To the point where I can finish the draft and not just have this, you know, conglomeration of messy, weird scene pieces at the end of the story, rather than an actual conclusion, you know? So which one bad? I don't know. Also, you may have realized that it took me like literally 3 weeks to get from 57,000 words to 60,000 words. I didn't address it before, but that was because I was taking a break. I had gotten very overwhelmed. I was combing through those final scenes. It was taking a long time, and then I had jury duty, and I actually have like very severe social anxiety, so jury duty was like stressful and sending me over the edge, so I just couldn't focus on writing. But yes, that was my break. I didn't address it before, but that's what happened.
Okay, today is October 4th, and I have now completed the confrontation scene and the reaction scene. I have rewritten them and updated them, and it went kind of well. So after working on those scenes and adding and deleting everything that needed to be added and deleted, my story still sits at 60,000 words. 60,846 words. There was a 400-word section that I pulled from the reaction scene and put at the bottom of the document because I didn't want to erase it because I still like that part, so I'm kind of hoping I can weave it in somewhere else, even though it might not really relate to the story anymore. But I couldn't get myself to delete that, so everything else that needed to be deleted from those scenes got deleted and replaced with what needs to be there now, except for that 400-word section, which is just floating at the bottom of the document. It doesn't matter. But my story still sits at 60,000 words, which is a plus, a surprising plus. And those two scenes really have shifted massively. Like, I've really felt like I've, like, supported the story up. So now for the remaining scenes, there's, like, propulsion and tension and, like, actually building, you know, reason between each scenes to be happening for the rest of the story. It actually feels like a substantial positive change that I have made to this story. I'm shocked, actually, that my rewriting of the conflict and the reaction have gone so well. But they really have. The final line of the reaction scene is very, very weak. It's a terrible, like, petering out final line at the end of a chapter, but I can come back and fix that later. It's fine. Everything else is really just going quite well. Like, structurally and, like, emotionally, character-wise, plot-wise, those two scenes went like this to, you know, I fixed them up, and it feels good. So the final line is very weak, but whatever. We'll worry about that later. I'm currently on page 97 of 125 single-space pages on Microsoft Word. So what I'm going to do now is finish the draft, hopefully. I don't know how long it's going to take me, obviously, but I'm going to start from where I am now at the end of the reaction scene and move through the draft that way, because all of these remaining scenes are so messy and piecemeal and just, you know, I need to also move them, you know, and align them with where the story is now. So there's going to be a lot of rewriting probably, and I know this, again, doesn't feel like first draft behavior, but it really is because I'm trying to write a complete story. And right now, the way I had these scenes before, all of these scenes that I've just been combing all of this long time, they're terrible. And I need to fix them before I can call this a complete draft. So that's my plan. Instead of combing, though, my plan now is to start at the end of the reaction scene and begin, you know, aligning the scenes with the story, making sure the characters are emotionally where they need to be, adding connective tissue, you know, creating that momentum between scenes that I developed and have set up now in the conflict and reaction scene. I don't think it'll be too bad, but it's not going to be a quick process by any means. Like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm 28 pages away from the end of the document, I can knock this out in a weekend, you know? It could take me, you know, 28 days or longer, maybe twice as long. I don't know, it just depends on what the scenes are going to need in order to, you know, get them in line with where the story is now versus where the story was when I originally wrote them, which was just nothing, you know? Just nonsense, just no reason for the characters to be doing what they were doing. All the characters now have a reason to be doing what they're doing, and that needs to be inputted into the scenes. So it's going to take time. But that's where we are. Page 97 out of 125 single-space pages. I'm going to start from where I am now, bottom of the reaction scene, work my way to the end. I think all of the scenes I have are all of the scenes that I need. You know, I think I can move them into where they need to be, you know, plot-wise and emotion-wise. Because when I was writing them initially, I had the vaguest idea of what was going to be going on in this ending section of the book, except it was just all wrong because there was no tension or propulsion because the conflict and reaction scenes went so poorly. But now they're fixed, and I feel like all of these messy remaining globular scenes, can be straightened up and worked out. So that's where we are. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, today is October 9th. It's a Wednesday. And my story currently sits at 64,000 words. And I have been having the, wild, unrealistic, delusional thought that I can finish it this weekend. I am planning on finishing the first draft of this story by this weekend and posting this vlog on Monday. Is that insane? Yes, definitely. Don't even need to pause to think about it. Definitely is. So, in order to get to 70,000 words, which is my goal, I need to write about 1,500 words per day. Yesterday, I wrote 1,500 words. The day before that, I wrote 1,200. I've already written 100 words today. I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon has been happening. Okay, so first, there's this two-part phenomenon. First is, I sort of feel like it's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So if I add 1,500 words and work on 5 pages per day, it will get me together the end of the document. I believe I'm on page 108 of 129, I'm pretty sure is where I am now. So I need to work on approximately 5 pages per day, and in those 5 pages, I need to add approximately 1,500 words each day, and then I'll finish this weekend. For some reason, even though I have no basis for this thought, I feel like that is what's going to happen, just naturally. I feel like as I work through these pages, every 5 pages, I'll add approximately 1,500 words, and then, by the end of the document, I'll have 70,000 words. No idea why I have that thought. It's kind of worked for the last 2 days, and so maybe I've just decided it's going to carry on for the rest of the story. I don't know. I'm in a delusional place, but I don't know. So that's my plan. Also, interestingly, I kind of just started this yesterday, but I sort of realized in the scene that I was working on yesterday was, because I'm in these final scenes, obviously. I'm in the last 20 pages of the book, and I have realized that somehow I subconsciously created that original structure that I talked about for so long before I decided to write a second POV. I have actually inputted that into this story here in these final 20 pages without ever meaning to. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I was doing it subconsciously because I was trying to create scenes and these are the scenes I created or something. I don't know, but that structure that I originally created is now being implemented into my story, and it's kind of working, and it's just bizarre because I did not intend for that to happen. The way it's doing, the way I'm doing it now, it clearly would not have been enough to stretch the novel from a novella to a novel. But for these last 20 pages, it feels like really the right thing to be doing. I had all of these bare bones scenes just floating down here that I'm now working on after, setting up the emotional path of these final scenes because I finished the conflict scene and the resolution scene. And somehow the natural pull of these scenes is demanding the implementation of that structure. It doesn't make any sense. It's I don't know, my brain was working overtime and I had not caught up. So that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good about that. So that structure is being implemented into these final 5 or 6 scenes, these last 20 pages. I just realized that I was doing that yesterday, so I started feeling a little bit hesitant because I was like, what am I doing? How did I get here? But that is what I'm going to be needing to do now for these final scenes, is take that structure that I implemented so long ago, input it into the scenes. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. It was magic. I don't know. Some divine creative was working, and it was not me. But that's where we are. We're feeling kind of good. So that's happening. The other thing that's interesting, I don't know how to explain this in a way that does not sound concerning, but there's no reason to be concerned about me. This has happened before, and I'm in therapy, so it doesn't matter. But I've started feeling an approaching darkness. I feel like the dark times are coming, and I'm feeling a sense of urgency to get this book done before the dark times consume me. You know, if I don't finish it this weekend and the final clips of this vlog are like 4 months from now, then you'll know that I couldn't outrun the dark times. But that'll be okay. I just had to sit them out. That's normally what happens. I've only ever had this feeling of like creative urgency, like a foreshadowing, like a feeling of oncoming darkness once before, and it was when I wrote the draft of my 5th novel in 3.5 weeks. I had that same feeling then. I don't know what causes it. It's very strange because, like, part of me feels like if I can finish this book and like feel really good about it, maybe I can, like, you know, put off the dark times, like prevent them from coming, you know, like pushing a hurricane back out to sea and like stop them from slowing down my life. Or I just want to finish it before they come and I can't make them not come. I don't know, it's pretty weird. It sounds concerning, but I do struggle, you know, I have some mental health struggles, and I just feel this, I feel like the creeping edges of darkness coming in, and usually when that happens, I just have to stop, you know, being creative for a long, long time. It's a problem, but it's a familiar problem. But for some reason, right now, and when I wrote the first draft of my 5th novel in 3.5 weeks, I can like foresee the dark times coming, and it instills in me this sense of creative urgency. Can't explain it any better than that. Don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a strange coping mechanism that I have developed after all of these dark years, but that's where we are. It's kind of interesting, and like, on the one hand, it feels good. Okay, so the way I kind of realized this was happening was I was watching like my previous couple of clips on this vlog, and I realized like good things were happening with the story, and yet I didn't seem enthusiastic at all, and I was like, oh, what is my problem? And then like I started realizing, you know, the edges of my world, I can kind of start feeling that dark time coming. I don't know if it's like change in scenery, like the weather is changing. I mean, there's been other things going on in my life. I don't know, but it's coming. I can feel it coming, and I kind of hope by, you know, indulging in this creative urgency, I can stop it from coming. You know, I can push it back out to sea. That didn't happen when I wrote the first draft of that novel in 3.5 weeks, because that novel, I wrote the first draft in 3.5 weeks, and then I spent like literally only 6 weeks revising it, and then I immediately start querying, which was a problem, but I shouldn't have done that. But not only did that novel end up having the most interest of any of my other novels, it was far and away the best novel I'd ever written. But it did not prevent the darkness from consuming me. That darkness that consumed me back then, after that bout of creative urgency, lasted for like almost 3 years probably. So, I don't know. I don't know what's happening to me, but I'm having it again. We are experiencing it. It feels the same. The creative urgency, the darkness on the outside, it's coming. It's coming for me. Can I finish this novel before it overtakes me? Should I even try? I definitely am going to try whether or not I should. Like, is it healthy for me to try? I don't know. Usually I just have to end up sitting out during the dark times. But I don't know. I'm a little bit hopeful I can push it off. I feel like that's not realistic, and it's not going to happen, and I'm still going to have a period of dark times. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm feeling optimistic that I'll be able to finish the book and, you know, feel good about it before, hopefully at least have some kind of mitigating factor on the dark times, you know, feel a little bit better. I don't know, that didn't happen the last time I wrote a book in this creative urgency spell, so we'll see, but it's been interesting. I'm feeling like, aside from the creative urgency that I've been feeling, I'm not feeling good. Like, I can definitely tell I'm entering like a downward period, so it's an interesting place to be. I don't know if that makes me sound like I've lost the plot, but I really haven't. This is just something I struggle with, and I don't know. Usually, literally, this is only the second time in my life I've ever experienced the creative urgency spell. Usually the dark times come, I don't feel them coming, they just come, and then I'm just stuck in them. And I'm not creative for, you know, the length of the dark times. But apparently, who knows why, twice in my life, I have gotten this creative urgency before the dark times come. It's kind of nice, you know. I would wish I could have this feeling without the dark times. But yeah, so I'm not in the dark times yet. I can feel them coming, but my goal is 1,500 words, 5 pages per day. be done by this weekend. Post this blog on Monday. What?
Okay, so it's later, it's the same day, it's almost 9 p.m., and I'm starting to struggle. So I've added just over 500 words today. I still need to add about 1,000 more, but the problem was I reached these like 2 or 3 scenes where I am not sure what the order is supposed to be. The order feels wrong, and I kept shifting them around, and I couldn't land on something that felt right, and that got overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip them, and I'm going to work on the final scenes of the novel, and then hopefully like tomorrow or the next day I'll come back to these scenes feeling refreshed, and like the order will, I don't know, appear magically to me and I will know what to do. Because right now I'm starting to struggle and it is a concern. But rather than just getting stuck forever on these scenes, I still want to add another 1,000 words today, so I'm just going to skip them and hope that works in my favor. Alright, it is now the next day, Thursday. Last night I was able to end up writing 1,700 words, and so what I did after I was starting to struggle was I skipped the scenes that were causing me problems. My cats are jumping everywhere, and then I couldn't get myself to focus on those next scenes because I was like, I can't be skipping scenes so close to the end. And so I did actually go back to the troublesome scenes, and I realized what the problem was I was concerned that one of those scenes was perhaps a repeated beat, as in like the purpose of that scene had already been accomplished earlier in a different scene. I'm not sure if that was the case, so I ended up just connecting them anyway and keeping them all in the story because I didn't want to delete all those words if that scene is a repeated beat. So in revision, I might end up having to cut that scene, but for now, I ended up completing those troublesome scenes. And now there are 3 scenes left in the story. I believe I'm on page 120 of 134 single space pages on Microsoft Word. So today's Thursday, 3 scenes. If I do 1 scene per day, I will be able to finish this by this weekend. I'm a little bit tired, but I don't know. I'm still feeling like I can do it, and I still feel like I'm just not sure if what I'm doing is good. Like, am I writing, what needs to be written? Am I just flailing against the keyboard? I don't know. Okay, so it's now the next day, Friday, October 11th. My book is at 67,000 words. Yesterday I was struggling and I started feeling like I was just straight up adding connective tissue and not really like thinking through the scenes I was connecting, but I think that's fine and I can just fix it in revision. But I got through 2 of the 3 remaining scenes yesterday, which means there's only 1 scene left in the whole book, and I'm currently 3,000 words away from 70,000, but the final scene is extremely bloated. I did not realize that till last night, but it's like 5 pages long. It doesn't need to be that long. So, my book, once I finish that scene, this draft will probably end up being like 65,000 words, which isn't terrible. I've kind of accepted it, partly because I'm like getting really tired, but also because I'm sort of hopeful that in revision I'll both find places where I want to add description and also find places where the plot needs to slow to linger a little longer. So I'm hoping my final draft might be, a little bit closer to 70,000. But you just don't know yet. So we'll see.
Hello friends, it is now Saturday. I forgot to look what the date is. Oh my goodness. October 12th. Last night I was hoping I would be able to finish the book, but then I've just been so tired. So I didn't, but today I did. So the first draft of this book is now 100% complete. My cat is scratching at the door. Buddy. So it came down to 69,606 words. Which means it took me, obviously I didn't reach the final 1,000, I'm 400 words away, but it took me about 2 weeks to write these almost 10,000 words from reaching 60,000 words, which means I was reaching, my 10,000 word increments in shorter periods of time each time, which is good because I was hoping to kind of use this story as a way to like practice writing books faster. Obviously, it took me twice as long as I had hoped to write this book. Okay, I gotta let my cat out. But I am done now, and I feel pretty good. Oh, there goes the other cat. He's gonna want to go out too. So, clearly I did not end up, did I say 69,606 words? Because that's what it is, not 66,000. I don't know what I said, but I didn't end up de-bloating that final scene. I actually probably ended up, you know, multiplying the bloat, but it was because I was writing last night the most indulgently I've ever written in my life. I was coming to these parts and I was like, does this really need to be here? You know, maybe not, but I don't need to make those decisions now. I can leave it all in there, and I can add some more, and then I'll just deal with it in the future during revision. So that's what I did. I just, you know, I kept what I wanted to keep, and I added what I wanted to add, and it was indulgent and bloaty, but that's fine. I ended up splitting the final scene into 2 scenes and an epilogue. You know, possibly unnecessary, but it was enjoyable. So, and then I reached 69,606 words. So now I'm finished with the first draft. It took me almost 6 months, which is, you know, twice as long as I was hoping it would take me. But it's still good, and I'm feeling pretty good, actually. At the moment, I'm feeling, you know, not like the dark times are coming, which is a positive. I've clearly been getting endorphins from this project. So, you know, you will join me on the revision process. But now all I have to do is figure out how to upload like a 100-minute long video onto YouTube. But really, for all of the struggles that I had writing this draft, I am glad that there is a video for this one.